The man I knew as my dad never existed. I do not know if this belongs here or not. This is almost a sort of thing that's so off and so evil that no one would actually believe me. My friends know most of this story, but not the really gory details, only the gist of it. I guess I will start at the beginning. I will be writing this as I remember the events, but I will try to keep them in sequential order as best I can. Since my mother was pregnant with me, my father had control of our family's finances. All the money that both he and my mother earned, he could use and swap between bank accounts as he pleased. Since 2013 though, we had been having some problems with money. Something which we should not have been, because both of my parents' jobs paid over $100,000 a year before tax. Yes, my brother and I both went to private schools, and we have a Saint Bernard to feed, but nothing had changed, and we suddenly started having money troubles seemingly for no reason. Fast forward to February of 2015, and my father had a heart attack. While he was in hospital, my mom looked in his car to find a mountain of bills, which included final notices on the mortgage for the house. Our house was in collections at the bank. When I found out about this, the only thing I could think to do was to go outside with my dog, Bailey, because I knew that if we were kicked out of our house, I had likely never see him again, as he would be returned to the breeder we bought him from. This marked the beginning of my father's downfall. The time between then and October is all just a blur. I can remember a few instances of my mum and father fighting really loudly. At some point my father ended up sleeping in the spare room which was next to mine. Since about halfway through August he had not been able to work. He was having horrible chest pains, which we now know were rapid heart attacks, and yet he refused to go to the hospital or have us call an ambulance for him. On the 1st of October 2015, the monster who was my father died. Now, from what I have told you already, you may be thinking, your dad did not seem so bad, why are you calling him a monster? Well, I will tell you why. Now, just a warning, this may become a little bit hard to follow, as I have currently got all the stories in my head at once, and I'm just going to type them in the order of which I found out about them. So here we go. Since 2003, my father had been having an affair with a woman from his work. This is made worse when you know that my brother was born in 2005. How did we find out about this? I hear you thinking. My older sister, 24 at the time, was looking through his emails to find electronic bills for things like Foxtel, TV service provider for those who do not know, the gas bill, and the electricity. While my sister was looking for these, she finds emails from this woman. If I need to, I will call her B, saying that my father had given her an STD. Going further back, B was saying about how good my father was the previous night. Now, this woman knew that my father was married. She knew that he had children. How do we know this? My father was complaining about us to her through emails. This woman is also the reason why we started having money problems. My father had bought her a diamond ring and was promising that he would leave my mum and marry B in June of 2016. My mum was always asking my father if they could go to the cinema for their wedding anniversaries, or for my mum's birthday, or even just for the hell of it, but he never did. Why? Because he had already seen the movies with B. My father was almost never home. On weekends he had be going to a second job, as he was calling it, and on weekdays he was working late. I will give you one guess on what he was doing instead, or rather, who he was doing instead. He never did anything at all around the house, except maybe wash the dishes once a week, and living without him is not much different. My mum, my brother and I would almost always go on a holiday in September, and my mum had been saving up to do it in 2015 since 2013, and everything was booked, so we went. My sister was supervising him. My mum found bills for a dog feeding service from before any of his medical issues began biting him. He asked bills for those dates. Instead of staying home like he said he was paying someone else to feed Bailey and spending 2 weeks at B's house. After talking about my father's behavior with a psychiatrist, we have come to the conclusion that my father was a sociopath. He was pretending to be the kind, funny, caring person I thought he was my entire life. He did not even really care about me. He did not even care about himself enough to lose some goddamn weight, because if he had, he never would have had the heart attack. This last little bit, I do not know too many details about, as my mum has not told me about it in extreme detail, and I have not even told my friends about this out of fear that I will be judged for my father's actions. My father was a rapist, I do not know when, and I do not know who. This is all that my mum's told me, and she's told me not to say anything to anyone who knows me, because I will more than likely be seen as a rapist by people who do not know the full story. Please do not judge me because of something my father did, he made his own decisions. And I could never do that to someone, but this, if nothing else, tells me that my dad was a lie. I know that some people will think that I'm just doing this to get attention, but frankly, typing this out has helped me a lot. Thanks for reading, it means a lot. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, hit that like button to support my work. And as always, enjoy the fear, my dear.